Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have with me in the studio once again today Barrister Chukwuma Ezeala. Chukwuma, you're welcome.
Thank you, Father, for inviting me.
Chukwuma Ezeala is the principal partner in Chancellor Chambers, and he is also the national president of the Catholic Lawyers Association. You were the president for the Lagos Archdiocesan.
Yes.
Before then, you were the vice president, Lagos Archdiocesan.
Yes.
Catholic Lawyers.
Yes.
And I recall that while I was at the Catholic Secretariat as Secretary General, Chukwuma Ezeala was the coordinator of the program to get Catholic lawyers organized nationwide. Yes. And is there any chapter of the Catholic Lawyers Association, any diocesan chapter that has existed since that time, 2001, and is still functioning today?
Yeah, a few of them existed from that 2001 and are still functioning. Of course, Lagos has been functioning from that time. Onitsha is functioning not very well at a particular time, but it's functioning. You also have Warri is functioning from that time. These are about the ones that were functioning from that 2001 till
because I know
now.
that you put in a lot of effort at that time after we inaugurated it at that time. So it will be interesting to know those that have existed this last 17, 18 years consistently. Now it's another phase. You have begun another phase this time as the president of the association to go around from diocese to diocese. So how many dioceses now do we have? Have you been able to ascertain that Catholic Lawyers Organization is functioning?
Yes, we have many, but even from after 2001, about 2003, Abuja came on board and has been working consistently till now.
Okay.
But in the last 4 years, or in the last 3 years, when we relaunched the national office, I became the Secretary General, really. And since then, we've had many of them now that are, if I may mention from province by province, if you look at Abuja province, currently we have Abuja, we have Lafia working, we have Makodi working, we have Otukpo working.
What about Lokoja?
Lokoja is yet
we were
to
among the most active. Lokoja was among the most active.
Yes, Lokoja came on board in that 2002, 2001. At a point, they started having 1, 2, 3, 4 lawyers. Until now, it's part of the areas we want to look at and ensure they start working.
You better make sure that Lokoja is working.
Yes, I will. I've started making contacts to be sure they are going to work. And you will also assist because I know that's where it's very important too. And then apart from Abuja, in Benin province, Warri has been working and we've been able to bring Iseluku on board. Benin itself has also come back on board. We are working on Auchi and Auchi now to see whether it will come on board as quickly as possible. And you go to Calabar, Port Harcourt has been working in the last 6-7 years and is getting stronger. And we have Uyo that has come on board recently in the last 1 year, 2 years. We have also Ikore Bene that has also come on board. We are working on Calabar. Calabar is about coming on board. And we moving from there, Ibadan.
What about Ogoja?
Ogoja is not yet there. We're trying to
Don't they have Catholic lawyers?
They have some Catholic lawyers. In fact, I spoke to the Bishop of Ogoja the other day. He said, look, that they are going to do much. In fact, the vice president, the first vice president, is actually from Ogoja. And we said the challenge is that you must make sure he's
working.
Send him
home to go.
We have told him that he's going to go home, you know, and ensure that he works. And then we're also moving down to Ibadan. Ibadan has been, in the last 5 years, Ibadan has been working, but in the last 2-3 years, they've come seriously on board. That bishop is very happy with them. And Ibadan has also assisted in getting Oshobo, getting Ondo. Oyo is not so much into it. I think they said that they have some challenges. Ekiti is coming on board. And Ondo is also a bit coming on board. But those ones are not really very strong now. Ibadan is still the very strong one. But I think in the next 3 months, we will be able to get many of them really working
What about Kaduna province, Jos province?
Yes, these are areas that we have very serious challenges. But luckily for us, in the last 1 year, Bauchi from Jos province started working very well. The bishop is enthusiastic. He is even ready to help, to assist in getting it in most parts of the Bishop of Bauchi, particularly. But then, Jos itself is working since 2002, really.
Okay.
But then it's having these challenges of 2, 3, 4, 5 persons coming up. But I think in the last 1 year, we've tried to see there's a senior advocate who has been trying to do a good work in Jos. So I think they will come on board.
When you talk about a diocese coming on board,
yes,
you mean like maybe 10, 15, 20 lawyers?
Yes. 15, 10, 20 lawyers, and then some. It's not so much about number. There are some that are 7 that are doing well. Yola.
Meaning they are meeting regularly.
They are meeting.
And they are undertaking some projects.
Yes, they are undertaking some projects, like in Yola, which is also part of
Jos Province.
So this, you have Jos, you have Bauchi, you have Yola that are working from that province relatively there now. And then the Kaduna is where we are still having some challenges. We have a few, 1, 2, 3 from Sokoto diocese that are meeting, assisting. In Kaduna, they have more than 60 Catholic lawyers. Recently, in the last 1 month, 2 months, I tried to get their numbers to see what can I do to ensure they are meeting regularly and be ready to take up the challenges. Zaria Kafanchan, they're also trying to see what they can do and then come on board. But those areas are the areas I think we have major challenges, Kaduna and Jos provinces.
And you know, as you list those areas in the northwest Nigeria, Kaduna province and Jos province, I see those areas as areas that will really benefit very much from a strong organization of Catholic lawyers. I mean, we have cases of churches being denied land, you know, dioceses and parishes being denied land to build churches. These are legal issues because it's against the Constitution. The Constitution guarantees the right of, you know, groups like this to get land. We have cases of people being persecuted on account of their faith. We have all kinds of issues that if you had an organization of Catholic lawyers, that body could ordinarily do a lot to do a lot of advocacy and push for the recognition of the rights of, you know, the oppressed people. So it's an irony that those are the areas where the Catholic Lawyers Association will be weak.
Yes, I had the privilege of speaking to the Bishops' Conference the other day, and we said that we're looking at provinces with their peculiar problems. We identified that Kaduna province and Jos province are having serious issues of land, serious issues of abduction of young persons and changing their religion.
Yes.
And then also other minor issues of suppressing one religion or the other.
Yeah.
And we said we need them to be on board. In fact, we have taken up some challenges in Yola, where we have a little people. There was a system, there was a particular case of somebody who was convicted of murder when he didn't do anything in Yola. We took up that matter, you know. And then the bishop had been also a bit supportive in terms of calling the lawyers to see how they can work on it. They have serious challenges, and I think if we're able to be on ground very well, but you know, in Nigeria, you also not only you have that one, you also have challenges of logistics of whether if you're going to court, logistics of to what extent can you render this assistance. In each of these provinces, you have more than 30, 40 young persons being forced to change their religion, either by forced marriage or by kidnapping, and then keeping them in one place. You also have many of the churches that can't get, and then so, but if we take 1 or 2 of them and go to court and get a declaration and move on, mobilize and see what we're going to, and this is the next phase, because first is for us to work on capacity building so that the lawyers will understand this is what they are to do. So
the first thing is to bring them together.
Yes.
Because you see, networking is so important. I mean, when you recall that when we set up this Catholic Lawyers Association, we kept on talking about the potential, the enormous potential of this body of professionals, especially as we are running a democracy. By then, we had just come back to democratic rule, and we said, in a democracy, the body of lawyers, this professional body is a very powerful one, because you know the Constitution, you know the rights of people, You know what abuses are happening, and you know what to do about it. Now, okay, some support may be needed, like you said, logistics. Yes. Some support may be needed from the diocese. Some support may be needed from civil, some NGOs or whatever, or even people of goodwill.
Yes.
But we need the foot soldiers
to be available.
Yes,
to
we
do
need
the
the lawyers who are able to do the work.
Yes,
yes. And some of them maybe they are doing well in their legal practice that they can do some of these things pro bono.
Pro bono, yes.
So, but then to work together,
yes, is
so absolutely important. The potential is enormous. You know what Martin Nemula said? They came for the Jew. I was not a Jew. I said nothing.
Yes.
They came for Protestant. I was not a Protestant. I did nothing. They came for Catholic. I was not a Catholic.
Yes.
I did nothing. Then they came for me.
Yes.
That if you think that is only happening to the girls that are being abducted,
yes.
If you think it is only happening to people who are asking for church space to build a church, it may happen to you tomorrow. You may want to build a house as a Nigerian, but because you are a Christian, yes, you don't get a place to build.
Or because you're a Muslim in another area.
Or because you're a Muslim in another area.
Yes.
So it's so important for us to nip these problems in the bud, to nip them in the bud. Otherwise, it's coming to us. Yes. So, I mean, I want to congratulate you for what you have done so far. I mean, your mere panoramic presentation that you know what is happening with Catholic lawyers in the different dioceses of this country. I think it is commendable. And to use this platform, to use this forum to say that all Catholic lawyers in Nigeria are supposed to come together in their dioceses, in their parish. If there are many enough, if they are up to 3, 4, 5 in a parish, yes, they are supposed to organize.
Yes.
And then in their dioceses, if there are 10, 15, 20, they are supposed to organize. Yes. Because there is too much discrepancy between the faith we profess to have and our life outside. And the conduct of, look at the conduct of elections that we discussed in an earlier discussion. Yeah. And the conduct of elections and the way we are practicing our democracy. That our faith should be put into practice. Therefore, if we are doctors, how is our faith being put into practice in our hospital work?
Yes.
In the health policies of our country, in the insurance system, health insurance system? How is our faith being put into practice? How are the poor, for example, being served healthcare? In the same way, as lawyers, how is your faith being put into practice in terms of access of the poor to justice? And it is from that perspective that if lawyers, Catholic lawyers come together, Christian lawyers come together, they can now use the church's preferential option to the poor, for the poor, to make sure that people are not denied justice because they are poor. You know. So it is the work you are doing about, you know, bringing the Catholic lawyers together is so important, and I do hope that where it is not yet existing, that lawyers that are watching this program, where it is not yet existing, will begin to take it seriously, to get to call on the diocesan group or the national group to say, look, come and help us. We are 5 lawyers here. We want to organize. What is this capacity building that you spoke about?
No, the capacity building is to get each diocese or each province to understand how they can get these lawyers on board and the programs they need in that area. I'll give you one example, like in Owerri. You know, that bishop said, oh, they have, among other problems, they have problem of outcasts. You know, declare the OSU system, and then he wants lawyers to work on it. Yes. And then you have a lot of lawyers. So the question becomes, if they come, what do they do? We have the prison decongestion program, which is everywhere, which we do everywhere. But to build the capacity of lawyers to understand, or the leadership of lawyers in the dioceses, to understand how do you, if you have capacity of having 100 Catholic lawyers, how do you bring them? How do you convince them to know that this is their responsibility as Catholics, to know that this is their responsibility as Christians? to come and become what they ought to be.
So one of the things they need to do is to study the social teachings of the church.
Yes.
So it means part of the capacity building will be to take them through the social teachings of the church that outline what their responsibility as Catholic professionals.
Yes.
And critical profession like law, what is your responsibility to be a Christian in your society?
Yes.
This time we are talking of carrying your faith to the marketplace,
yes.
carrying your faith to the courtroom.
Yes.
How do you use your knowledge, your skills, your privileged position as lawyer
yes.
to help your society, especially the least of Jesus' brethren?
Yes, and that will simply be analysis of the injunction or of the directive of our Lord Jesus Christ, which is now our motto, Matthew 16:23, that says, when he says, "Woe to you lawyers, for you have left what you ought to do. You're paying tithes, you're doing all those ones, but you have left the principal thing you should do, and that is working for justice, truth, and mercy."
So your motto is woe to you lawyers?
Yes. Ironically. Yes.
Woe to you lawyers for abandoning your calling.
And Christ said that our calling is to work for justice, truth, and mercy.
Yes.
That is our calling. And that is what our Lord Jesus Christ said we should do. And how do we do it? By looking at the social teachings of the church to give us direction on how to achieve justice, how to achieve mercy, and how to achieve truth in all the things
I think that one of the problems we have in this society is that this society, Nigeria, does not lack in terms of resources.
Yes.
We don't lack in terms of natural resources. We don't lack in terms of human resources.
Yes.
What we lack is how do we go about it? So, if we were to count the number of Catholic lawyers in Nigeria, if we are to line them from here to the cathedral,
yes,
Catholic lawyers in this country,
yes,
or Christian lawyers in this country.
We have more than 40,000 Catholic lawyers in this country.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. So we don't lack the resources.
Yes.
What we lack is the will, political will,
yes,
to do something. Not just to go to church for worship. That's easy.
Yes.
But having worshipped, worship is supposed to be like fuel.
Yes.
That fuels the believer to go out there and give witness to his or her faith.
Yes.
So having worshipped, what next?
And that is the sense of omission that sometimes I ask Catholic lawyers, if you don't join and do the work, when you go to confession, you must confess your sins of omission, because this is a principle. And I say that Christ will not ask you, did you do this? You didn't know you did this, you did this. Christ will also ask you, why are you there as a Catholic lawyer and you can't work for justice? You can't work for peace. You can't work for truth. You can't work for prisoners to be released. You can't work for the socially misfits to be accommodated in the society. You can't do all these things. That is the capacity.
You remember the key point I made when I talked to the Nigerian Bar Association in 2015?
Yes.
The key point I made is about purpose.
Yes.
What is the purpose of a lawyer? The role of lawyers in national development.
Yes.
What is the purpose of a lawyer? And I did say that, okay, livelihood. When this profession started, those who wanted to make money went into business. But that the law, a profession in the law, is a calling like that of a doctor, like that of a priest. That is why the principal professions traditionally in the Western tradition, they are law, medicine, and priesthood.
Yes.
That they are callings, and that you do not embrace any of them in order just to make money. You embrace them because you feel called to free the oppressed. You feel called to fight for justice. You feel called to advocate for correct policies in society. But if we don't teach people these truths, what happens is that people are now looking as to, okay, which profession makes more money? Where can I make more money? Oh, I know this senior advocate, he's stinkingly rich. Let me go and be a lawyer so that I become senior advocate and become rich. Something is wrong with that orientation.
That's correct.
And part of your capacity building, part of the teaching that we all need to do is to help people to know, why did you become a lawyer in the first place? And incidentally, what is it that is going to give you fulfillment as a lawyer? It's not when you become the richest lawyer in Nigeria. What's going to give you fulfillment is how many people you have freed, how many people you have helped to pursue justice, how many people you have, how many policies you have helped to change, how many bad legislations you have helped to overturn, you know.
How many people who are unjustly detained that you have helped to free? Like I usually tell them, I say, please, you know, at a point it became a campaign. How many prisoners have you freed? And I told my colleague, I said, it's not how many prisoners have you, but how many prisoners that are unjustly detained? How many prisoners that the state is really, you know, put it like there are some people that are waiting trials.
Up till today, I'm told that up to 70% of prison inmates are waiting trials. Are not convicted people. Are people awaiting trial.
Yes.
Now that's an unjust system.
Yes.
That's an unjust system that we all should be part of. How do we remove this curse, this injustice in our system? I mean, it's a wonderful initiative, the Catholic Lawyers Association, and I do hope. What do you know about other churches? Do we have Anglican Lawyers Association, Pentecostal Lawyers Association? Do we have equivalent? Because we need them. We need other groups to organize themselves.
Yes, we have the one you call Class Fund, Christian Lawyers Association.
How active
you know,
are they?
They are relatively active, but their work is not. I think they are doing well, but then their work is not so much. You see, in Nigeria, the problem we have in Nigeria is that we want to have an association for the sake of having an association, for the sake of coming together. Sometimes it's not. You don't have a clear objective on the things.
You share?
And we have Muslims organization too.
Yeah.
You know.
Can you share the document of the Vatican on Catholic lawyers? You know, the Vatican issued a document on Catholic lawyers.
Yes.
Can you try to obtain that and share with the other Christian lawyers? Let them see what they can borrow from it.
Yes.
And then share some of the dimensions of the social teachings of the church with them. I mean, I know a number of Pentecostals who, when they discovered the social teachings of the church, have been celebrating.
Oh, sure.
But they didn't know such exist.
Yes.
And are adapting it to their own circumstances.
Yes.
So it may be part of your executive's work, your team, to share some of these documents with those organizations founded for Christian lawyers, so that it can help give some direction to their meetings.
No, we'll do that. We are trying to, because we wanted to fully organize ourselves well. Then, but along the line, to reach out and have a networking, you know, system with the Christian lawyers, with the Muslim lawyers, and then with all other areas that we can find people.
Because we will have certain things in common.
We have one objective, and that is to enthrone social justice in the country. And then if we have the same thing as a broad objective, it's a question of, do we share, you know, our views? Do we exchange notes to see, am I doing it well? If I'm not doing it well, can I borrow from what you're doing? So as to get to that. We also share with CAN and all other organizations.
On that note, we will bring this segment to an end. I have been speaking with Barrister Chukwuma Ezeala, principal partner in Chancellor Chambers and the national president of the Catholic Lawyers Association. I want to congratulate you for what you are doing and what your team is doing, and wish you all well. And pray that you get all the support you need, the logistic support you need to travel around the country as you are doing, helping to bring Catholic lawyers together. May God bless your work.
Thank you, Father. Before you close, we also want to thank you in a special way for starting the project in 2001 and always being there, giving us advice, which are very invaluable, and even giving the logistic support sometimes. And then most times too. We are really very grateful.
Thank you very much.
And others that have been supporting.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.